Introduce yourself for the record and you may proceed.
Good morning. My name is Ryan Fress. I am a resident in West Cornwall. I come this morning. I wrote down my thoughts to keep them straight. I come to you today to share concerns. What will it be like when ICE gets here? I've joined in some of the small gatherings out here on Mondays, calling for Congressman's attention, and I've seen what brings these people out, and it's love. It's love for our country, love for our community, and love for neighbor. Neighbor as defined by the Luke 10 parable of the Good Samaritan. A neighbor being anyone in need, regardless of race, creed, or color. Warehouses nearby are being converted into ICE facilities. Lebanon has a diverse community. It's only a matter of time till we see ICE here on our streets. These sweet senior citizens are going to put themselves in harm's way, and our community is at risk, and I just can't bear to see what happened in Minneapolis play out here in front of my own eyes. I don't have a specific request or suggestion today. I just want to publicly share this concern with you, and my hope is that Lebanon, in the 250th anniversary of our nation's founding, will stand for liberty and justice for all, that everyone's human dignity will remain a priority, and that the rule of law and due process be upheld. Thank you for your time this morning, and I pray that God bless you and lead you in all the important work that you do. Thanks.
Thank you.
Sorry to be a downer.
Anyone else? Okay, no takers. All right, then we'll move on and we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from February 5th and the executive session on February 4th.
So moved.
Second. Motion is second. Questions or comments regarding those minutes? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those minutes are approved. Thank you. Tobias, would you please introduce yourself for the record and proceed with your report?
Tobias, acting treasurer. We started with a cash balance of $285,917.30. We had receipts of $1,645,994.97, which brought our total cash to $1,931,912.27, less our expenditures of $1,391,244.92, less tax claim of $131,507.51, which brought our cash balance to $409,159.84, and that includes tomorrow's payroll.
I move to approve the report as presented.
Second.
Motion is second. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yep.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Again, we'll be pinching for Michelle. Leanne, please introduce yourself for the record and you may proceed.
Hi, my name is Leeanne Shank. I'm the Deputy Director of Human Resources. Okay. Under resignations and terminations, I have Annabelle Gerardo, caseworker 1 from Children and Youth, resignation effective February 4th. Bethany Fitch, caseworker 1 from Children and Youth, I rescind acceptance of employment February 6th. Joshua Battistelli, caseworker 1, Children and Youth, rescind acceptance of employment effective February 13th. Bethany Pasco, caseworker 2, Children and Youth, resignation effective February 26th. Daniel Velez, full-time correctional officer at the jail, resignation on the last working day, which was February 5th. Matthew Bodian, full-time correctional officer at the jail, resignation effective February 24th, and Joshua Pluck, juvenile probation officer at Probation Services, resignation effective February 25th.
I'll make a motion to approve the resignations and terminations as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Motion is second. Are questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Approved.
Moving on to changes of status, I have 3 motions. First one is to approve the Prothonotary Clerk of Courts, Barb Smith's request to have up to 8 employees within the Prothonotary Clerk of Courts office work on Saturday, March 7th, 2026 for a passport acceptance day, with full-time employees paid overtime for the 4 hours they will be working in accordance with the non-union compensation policy and the union collective bargaining agreement.
I also move.
Second?
Motion is second. Questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. That is approved.
Next one is a motion to approve a memorandum of understanding between the County of Lebanon and the Treasurer, or the Teamsters Local Union 429 Social Services, that the holiday known as the Christmas Eve half-day shall be observed as a half-day paid holiday for all employees who are actively employed on such holiday and eligible to receive paid holidays, effective for the year of 2026 and ongoing unless otherwise negotiated or mutually agreed upon. Specific dates, details defining when this is an observed holiday are outlined in the memorandum.
I'll make a motion to approve Christmas Eve half-day as a paid holiday for all employees as presented.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 And the last one, a motion to approve a memorandum of understanding between the County of Lebanon and the Teamsters Local 429 Court-Related Non-Professionals Union, that the holiday known as Christmas Eve half-day shall be observed as a half-day paid holiday for all employees who are actively employed on such holiday and eligible to receive the paid holiday, effective the year 2026 and ongoing unless otherwise negotiated or mutually agreed upon. Specific details defining when this is an observed holiday are outlined in the memorandum.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. And that is approved. Merry Christmas.
And then I have Megan Castle, promotion from Office Support 1 to Office Support 2, UPI in the Assessment Office at the rate of $16.46 an hour, effective March 2nd. Joshua Stout, change of status from casual part-time correctional officer to full-time correctional officer at the jail at the rate of $22.71 per hour, effective March 1st. Ethan Underkoffler, a promotion from Office Support 2 to Admin Assistant 1, Domestic Relations at the rate of $18.41 an hour, effective March 2nd. Sandra Horn, promotion from Admin Assistant 1 to Admin Assistant 2 in Domestic Relations at the rate of $19.40 per hour, effective March 2nd. Michaela Light, promotion from Office Support 2 to Admin Assistant 1 in Domestic Relations at the rate of $18.05 an hour, effective March 2nd.
Make a motion to approve the changes of status, transfers, and promotions as presented.
Second.
Motion is second. Questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Approved.
Other transactions, Area Agency on Aging would like to hire Ahmed Elgamal as a part-time meal transporter at the rate of $13.25 an hour, effective March 2nd. Assessment Office would like to hire Ashlyn Shirk as an Office Support 1 at the rate of $15.31 an hour, effective March 2nd. Children and Youth would like to hire the following two caseworker 1s at the rate of $1,629.56 bi-weekly, both effective on February 23rd, and that is Carissa Belleville and Shania Johnson. And Voter Registration would like to hire Artemis Call as a deputy at the rate of $22.42 an hour, effective February 23rd.
I'll move to approve those transactions.
Second.
Motion is second. Questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Those transactions are approved.
And then moving on to salary board, if there's no questions regarding the transactions presented, is there a motion to put these transactions onto salary board?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Good morning. Would you please introduce yourself for the record, and then you may proceed.
Good morning.
Morning.
Holly Leahy,
Good morning.
Administrator for Lebanon County Mental Health, Intellectual Disabilities, Early Intervention Programs. I am here this morning for two different items. I'll begin with fiscal year 2025-2026 contract amendments. There are 13 amendments in total. That's 2 for mental health, 3 for intellectual disabilities, 5 for early intervention, and 3 for building maintenance. That's a total of $170,832. These services will be covered through our current allocations. Therefore, we are not requesting any additional county tax dollars to cover these expenditures.
I'll make a motion to approve the waivers as presented.
Second.
Motion is second. Are there questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That's approved.
Thank you. The second item is our 2026 Office of Developmental Programs Operating Agreement for our administrative entity. So the administrative entity is our intellectual disabilities program staff. We are the administrative entity for the Office of Developmental Programs. This is for a 5-year operating agreement. I did provide the top 10 changes from the 2019 agreement versus this 2026 agreement. You will see that there are quite a few changes and additions. Very quickly, there were quite a few additions, a lot of additional duties and responsibilities that have been added to our ID staff with this operating agreement. We have been kind of reviewing all of those changes and additions since it came out. It did come out in January 2nd. Since that time, we've been reviewing all of that to determine how we can possibly cover all these additional duties and responsibilities. I will say that we will do our very best to cover all these additional duties and responsibilities. However, they are not adding any additional funding for additional staff in order to cover these. In all reality, we really should have 1 additional staff member just to cover all the additional responsibilities that have been layered into this operating agreement. That being said, again, we will do our very best to cover all of these responsibilities.
All right, I move to approve the operating agreement for 2026.
And I'll second the motion.
Motion is second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Holly, are the additional duties and responsibilities like clerical, or are they treatment oriented, or what?
They're really just expanding the scope of the oversight and management of all the providers and service supports management that individuals receive. So it's expanding that beyond the management of the waivers and really having more of a hands-on with the providers, such as, monthly management, and we are responsible to ensure that they are recruiting and that they have enough residential providers. And so it's really, and then it's also adding a financial component to it, whereas now we've had to really pull in our fiscal staff as well for the oversight and management, because now, whereas before it was a slot based for individuals and the waivers that they were receiving, the services that they were receiving, and an allowance, if you will, per that waiver. Now it's moving toward, we have to manage, they're giving us a pot of monies. Now you decide, we want you to take those and serve more individuals. We think you could potentially serve more individuals with what you have. So now it's really drilling down where we could pull any kind of funds together to cobble together something for someone additional. So it's definitely not clerical in nature. It's very much high level management and oversight, both fiscally and programmatically.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. All that approval.
much. This does require your signatures, so I will look forward to those signatures.
Thank you,
Thank you so
for
much.
managing all the another unfunded mandate.
We do our best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
Well, good morning, please have a seat. Introduce yourself for the record and you may proceed.
Okay, Julie Cheyney, Lebanon County Planning Department. And I believe you were provided a letter from Cornwall Borough on an extension request for their Snitz Creek Phase 1 improvement project, which came out of the 2024 Marcellus Shale Grant Round. They had some holdup with DEP that obviously caused the project to be on hold until they got the DEP approval, which came today. So I think based off of their time frame, I think they will be able to stick to that time frame now that they actually have the
The 12 months.
Well, I think they're looking to actually complete, they're asking for 12 months.
Yes.
But it looks like they're gonna be able to complete the project by summer.
Oh.
Because they honestly, I just talked to Cody this morning, and he goes, we just got our permit approval today.
Wow.
So they should be able to go forward with the bids and then the construction, and we hopefully keep on schedule for that end of summer time.
Okay. Well, I'll gladly make a motion to support the Marcellus Shale Grant Extension request from Cornwall Borough, just in case.
Second.
Motion and second. Questions or comments? None? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. You have that approval.
All right, thank you very much. Yes.
The new applicants for Marcellus Shale, do we schedule yet?
No, I think I'm waiting for the sheets back, one or two sheets.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Yes, you have all the information, we're just.
Yep, yeah, thank you.
Your review and.
Thank you.
Are you next?
Smith. Good morning, Barb. Please introduce yourself for the record and proceed with your request.
Good morning, Barb Smith, Prothonotary, and I'm here to ask for your approval to have the building open on March 7th from 8 until 12, and this would be for another passport acceptance day. We have 10 employees that would be working that day, that includes myself. 8 of them would be full-time, which I was requesting overtime for. 2 of them are non-union, and 1 is a part-time. So, in October, which was last year, we did this. We did send people home early. It wasn't as big of a turnout as we would have hoped, but we did send people home. So for the total, we only had 27.25 hours of overtime. So we do that. We'll send home if we're starting to slow down, we start to clean up. I also checked with the sheriff, and he will supply door monitors for that day for security.
Is he also open for?
I believe he is. Yes, he said he would supply door monitors, and I'm assuming that he wants to be open as well. When we do our flyers, we typically have that on here, that they will be open to process applications for firearms, so
Good to
I'm
know.
sure that's his intent.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
A motion?
Move it.
Second.
Motion and a second. Questions, comments? Again, thank you for
Good public service.
putting it together. I think you said you didn't have it turn out the expected, but there were a lot of people who took advantage of it that
Yes,
wouldn't
we
otherwise.
think the spring is the better time of the year, just with the summer coming up and Easter holidays.
Do you
So
think you'll go just to spring?
I think we're going to concentrate more on spring every year, and we would appreciate any press coverage that you can give us. Thank you very much.
All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Now you have approval.
Now, thank you.
Mr. Fitzkee,
Morning,
good
Commissioners.
Hello,
Thank you
John.
very much for the opportunity to stop in and see you.
Please introduce yourself for the record and then proceed with.
Jon Fitzkee with the Lebanon County Planning Department. I'm the Senior Transportation Planner for the department. And this morning, I'm here to present to you a letter of financial support for the LVRT Phase 6D project. We have a
For the sake of everyone here, LVRT.
Lebanon Valley Rail Trail. Thank you, Commissioner. The section that this grant is referring to is 6D, which is the portion that goes from US 422 through the Lebanon Valley Mall property. So that will get us over to Phase 7, which obviously runs out through the Lebanon Rails Business Park. So this will actually help us to close one of the real critical links, and as you guys are all aware of, we're working really hard with the 6C project that will take it up 22nd Street to do that partial road realignment bridge replacement. We submitted an application in November of last year. The total amount for construction was $711,388. And what we're asking for today is a request from DCD as part of our application, which is in review, as a letter of financial support for the $90,000 of ARPA funds to support this project.
I'll make a motion to approve the requested $90,000 in ARPA funds to work on the Lebanon Valley Rail Trail through the Lebanon Valley Mall from US 422.
Second.
Motion is second. Other questions or comments? None. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that approval.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Jonathan, the realignment, what's the schedule for that? Remind me.
Right now, we're probably looking at later in 25 with a groundbreaking, or 26, I'm sorry, and probably get into construction and wrap up in 27. It's kind of moved back a little bit because of some of the permitting that we've had to navigate. But one of the things that we have to make sure we stay on track with is we have protect funds from federal highways and PennDOT, which is for a lot of the issues we have with flooding in that area. That's about $2 million, so we need to make sure we stay on track. I think talking to Nate Walker, or Nate McCullough, we're on track to do that.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm Jay Green, treasurer with Coleman Memorial Park. I'm here with Vice President Joe Morales. I'm also here with our friends at Coleman Memorial Park. This is Lydia. Sitting in the back, also joining us today would be George Rodriguez, who's a board member, Cornell Wilson, who's a board member for Coleman Memorial Park, and of course Becky Woodhouse, who's part of the Friends. Our intention here today is to give you folks an update on what's going on in the park. There are many, many activities that are happening. We're really, really proud. I'm going to let Joe, he has a prepared statement for you folks. We also have some handouts too. They have what we look for. Folks are getting that great. Joe, go ahead.
Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to give you an update on all the exciting things that are going on at the park. Just a quick overview. Coleman Memorial Park, established in 1936, deeded to the city, is a city park. 100 acres in the northwest portion of the city. I don't think I have to introduce the park to most of you. We all grew up there. So we wanted to give a quick overview, and primarily the big thing we want to say to the commissioners and to the county is we wanted to thank you for your continued support to Coleman Memorial Park. And we thought we should share with you what we're doing with that, the funding that you help us with the park. So I'm going to go through building and grounds. Last year was a big year for us, and we dedicated the new pickleball court. And again, I have to thank the county commissioners for you helped us with some ARPA funding to contribute to the pickleball court. We had our first tournament, and the pickleball court has been well received. Folks love it. Things we're hearing from folks that are using the pickleball court is they love the fact that it's under the trees, and most of the courts around, the other courts, which we know there are 1,000 pickleball courts in the county now, but we have the beauty of being in the wooded park. So the other big thing we saw last year construction wise, and it kind of falls in the old, well, it was in the footprint of the swimming pool, which which is actually administered by the city, that small portion. But the dog park was constructed. We did not have, or the city did not have the grand opening for that last year, just due to kind of wrapping up some things. But we'll be looking at a grand opening here in 2025 for the dog park, so we're all very excited about that addition to the park. Continuing last year, athletics, a huge part of the park. We are so proud of our fields up the park. And you can see in the handout there, we had about 5,200 visitors and 63 countywide youth baseball games. Brian Davenport, who is a volunteer, manages and maintains those fields to a state of. We've been told by folks from far and wide, probably one of the best fields in central Pennsylvania. Brian also handles the tournaments that we have most weekends, bringing in folks from all over the Northeast to include Canada. So we talk about Coleman Park being a regional asset, and this is one of the things that makes it a regional asset. This is not just a city park. We're supporting the county and, of course, bringing in visitors from throughout the Northeast. So we thank Brian for the dedication. Brian is a full-time volunteer, so we thank him for that. Some special events, activities. Of course, we had a first pickleball tournament, which was a big hit. We're planning for 2 this year. We had our first Latino festival. George Rodriguez, one of our trustees here, and Cornell Wilson helped organize, and we had a great event there, great turnout, and we are looking at doing that again this year, and hopefully that will be an annual event. Other notable events, we are proud to say we have partnered with Music in the Park, 34th year of bringing music on Sunday evenings to the park, and that will continue in 2026. Also, George Rodriguez, who sponsors the Sweep the Streets 18th annual event, was held at the park. Huge turnout and a great success. We're so proud of what George does for the youth in our county with Sweep the Streets. So we thank him there. One of the big things, fundraising we have there, we started a new program that continues, Adopt a Bench, if you want to memorialize or if you want to remember someone. We have a bench program where we'll put a bench. We try and put it wherever you want the bench within reason, but that has continued to, this is our first full year, and it's in 2025, and it's been a great success to see benches springing up throughout the park, which you would think that would be a common sense thing to have a park. We should have benches. Well, we didn't, and now we do, and we're very excited about that. We also had our first annual fundraising appeal that started last year. We raised about $20,000 there, so we're super proud about that. 2026 appeals letters went out just recently, and we're excited about the prospect. That will be a yearly thing to try and raise funds for the park. With that, I can keep going there, but I'm going to turn it over. So the park is managed by 9 trustees who were appointed by the Court of Common Pleas. It is a lifetime appointment, which is very interesting. But so 9 of us manage the park. We have basically 8. We had at one point we had folks as trustees that had been there for many years. Probably over the last 6 years, we have turned over 95% of the trustees. So we have a lot of new folks that are trustees, and I think that's why you're seeing this resurgence and this in the park. A lot of new blood, great ideas. So the trustees manage also our nonprofit wing of the park is our Friends of Coleman Memorial Park. Lydia is representing the Friends, and I like to say that our Friends are the workhorse. They're our nonprofit, but they're the ones that are scheduling a lot of events and actually managing those events as well. So I'm going to let Lydia cover some of those events.
Hi, good morning. So Friends of Coleman's Park was able to bring back the annual event of our summer concert series for 2025 and the Harvest Fest, which always gets fantastic turnout. But we also were able to introduce the movies in the park series last year, which we will be continuing this year. And that is free public movies for all to enjoy. We try and keep them across the board for ages. Then we also introduced Ghost and History tours in 2025 in the fall season, which was really spectacular. We had a local person work with us to lead the tours and create just common knowledge history, answer a lot of questions that people had about the Coleman lineage. As far as the park grounds and ecology, we really have stepped up in the educational efforts. Our park is gorgeous, and it really houses a lot of rare species of things, historic species of things, and then native things. So we're trying to really make a spotlight on that, what the actual ecology of the park can offer for Lebanon and its wildlife that moves through it. So that includes some seasonal awareness things, some nature guides to help people understand the change of season, what that looks like for our environment, and then native seedling introductions and invasive plant removals. Lots for 2026 happening though.
Thank you.
I'll add to that, looking ahead, I know I'm looking at the clock here, but this year, Latino Festival, we're looking at a reggae festival. We've partnered with a company out of Philadelphia. It's a production company, Rising Sun presents, and they are bringing in a B-level band into the amphitheater for a show. So those tickets will actually be sold through Ticketmaster. So we're hoping this is a trial event here. If this works out, we could have many more shows. So we're excited about that. They'll be bringing in, again, as a Philadelphia entity, they'll be bringing in folks from throughout the Northeast. So we're excited about that.
That'll actually be in August, and for the record, it's a cover band called Stop Making Sense, which is Talking Heads band, yes. And apparently have quite the following, so we're really, really excited about making use of that. More use of that amphitheater is really the whole goal. So we're really hoping for a great turnout for that. And then plus about the CCC as well, we should add.
I was going to cover, we have anyone who's been to the park, we removed the old mini golf, all of the holes, they've been taken out, we've put it back to its natural state. We have the old mini golf building there that what we have decided is to make that into a multi-purpose facility. We're calling it the Coleman Community Center. We look at this facility as a place for meetings for nonprofits and schools, as it's just adjacent to our nature trail. We will have that then in the evenings or on weekends we could actually rent that out to generate revenue that would go 100% back into the park. Demolition on that has already started, and we're excited about bringing that building up to a better state and to be utilized for the park as well. One of the other big things we're excited about is the Friends are going into, I don't know if you've signed the contract yet, but we have an arborist that is coming in to the park and will be geotagging our trees because we have so many species of trees. We will be looking at becoming a level 2 arboretum. We have a level 1 in the county. We're hoping to be the only level 2. Again, this will bring in a whole new clientele of folks from throughout Pennsylvania that they're looking for an arboretum. Each tree will have a geotag on it. There will also be an app base where you'll be able to open up an app and zoom into each tree to see what species of tree that is and where it is in the park. So we're, again, super excited. This is a whole new clientele that we're going to bring to the park. And I'm sure the Coleman family would love to see that since they planted many of these original trees. So
does it tell you the age of the trees?
Yes, it does. It'll actually give you the entire scope as far as how it's beneficial to the ecology of the park, how they're all working together. It's actually going to be really impressive.
If anyone who is interested, this same company has done the same thing for Lebanon Valley College. You can go online and actually see they've done this for them. So that's going to happen this spring into summer.
It'll be done by April, actually, end of April.
So super excited. One last thing. Again, we said we have a lot of stuff going on. The bicycle playground, many of you know it as the pump track. We are also, through Samba, the mountain bike folks that actually put that track in, they are looking at blacktopping the tracks. So just the lane. So they are raising funds. There again, that bicycle playground or pump track is the only one in the county and is bringing folks in from throughout central Pennsylvania. So we're looking at improving that piece as well. So in closing, we want to thank the commissioners, let them know what we are doing with the county's funds. And anyone out there, we are always looking for through memorials, we're always looking for funds. So we want to thank the county commissioners again, and we hope to see you again next year at this time to give you a quick update. Thank you.
I think I can speak for my colleagues. We want to thank you. You know, it's easy to make an investment when you're being such good stewards of the park and doing so many good things. So it's a real good investment.
If I could just add for 1 second, I've been a part of this group now for about 2 years. Actually, Joe asked me to come in to be treasurer. Initially, I was a little reluctant. However, I think it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. This group is a really cohesive, between us and the Friends. I mean, we really are all working together as one entity, you know, with bettering this park and making the experience better for everybody.
Megan is certainly blessed with volunteers, you know, you folks, not just at Coleman Park, but other places throughout the county, so we appreciate all that. If one were to want to adopt a bench, what would that cost? Speaking of fundraising.
$750.
How much?
$750
Very good.
for 10 years.
So it's a lifetime guarantee for me.
Maintenance and upkeep.
You have to renew or repair possibly after 10 years, but we take care of all the plaques and stuff. It's on the website.
Right for now.
When was this printed?
Just this morning.
Well, I just point out for your information, Jay says he's a treasurer. Here it says Becky Woodhouse.
Well, for the trustees, Jay is the treasurer for the trustees. Becky Woodhouse is our Friends of Coleman Memorial Park treasurer.
Two treasurers.
We are two different entities managing the park.
Our nonprofit and entity is the Friends.
Okay, it was a little confusing to me. It doesn't specify which board, it just says board members, so I put the top, but I just point that out that maybe a little clarification would be in order.
Absolutely. Thank you.
For somebody like me that reads it wrong.
I think the left side page is Board of Trustees, the right side page.
It's Friends, correct.
Yeah, if you look at the top of the heading there.
I don't see any names there, though.
We'll absolutely add that in for next year.
So the track you're talking about paving, that's the one in the woods? You were saying the bike group is going to
So
pave?
the bicycle playground is directly adjacent and beside the dog park. That's for those jumps and hills, and we also have a multi-purpose trail that goes around the exterior of the park as well. So, but the paving is for inside the bicycle playground.
Bicycle playground.
Yes.
But the trail, that's the bike rail trail that Levittown reported out on last year, that's not finished paving over toward 22nd Street. Are there plans to
Yes.
finish
So
paving
the connector trail is what you're talking about. That was completed. That is out to 22nd Street. It's
That is
finished.
paved?
That is
Yeah,
paved.
okay.
Well, half of it is paved. The other half is crushed stone out to 22nd.
Is that
We
part
didn't have
of
enough
the
room.
crushed stone, is that ever gonna, is there plans to actually pave the balance?
We don't. You don't need to. It's like the rail trail. It's the same surface as the rail trail. It's paved where it goes up the big hill. If we had more money, we would have paved it.
Sure, and
So,
I think we talked last
yeah,
year, and
yeah.
I'm just curious as whether or not.
I mean, but it is open. It's complete.
Yeah.
And now we're just looking at connecting the two there on Union Canal, Union Canal Drive. So So, over to Union Canal Tunnel Park.
So is there been any movement on that? Because I know it was between West Cornwall and North Lebanon Township and.
There, I recently spoke to the mayor, Mayor Capello, about, we had been talking to North Lebanon about that. But I know West Lebanon, Union Canal Drive, one side is West Lebanon, one side is North Lebanon. We think North Lebanon is interested, and that would make most sense, so we don't have to go, when we cross 22nd Street, we don't have to go across at the diagonal.
It's in that municipality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ken, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Did you bring donuts?
I wish I could. This is boring. We got.
Sorry, it's too late.
We have reports, books.
The exact opposite of donuts. The next best thing.
Yeah.
As long
I
as you
just know
present a good
Fosnot
finance-
Day's in here somewhere. Thank you. Good morning, sir.
As long as you present a good financial report, that's better than donuts any day.
Thank you.
Yeah, both is a good option.
I couldn't one anyway, I gave that out for lunch.
Did you?
I have these as well.
All right, gentlemen, who's gonna lead off, but introduce yourselves to the record and then you may proceed.
Thank you very much. Thanks for allowing us to come in again in this quarter. My name is Brett Holland. I'm with STIFEL Financial. My business partner, Mike Battistelli, with STIFEL Financial as well. And today, we have, our guests today are from CS McKee. CS McKee manages a little over 30% of the assets for the pension, so they play a very key role in managing the assets. We have Zach Vigna. I was practicing this. Vigna, I'm sorry. I actually asked Google this morning. So, but he's the director of distribution. I apologize, Zach. Zach's been with us before. And then Graham Harkins, he's the senior portfolio manager on the equity side of CS McKee. And this is his first visit here, I believe. So we're happy to have both of them.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. So we're going to start off with our report that we normally start off with, and we'd ask you to go to page 4, the one that Mike handed out there. And similar layout to last time. Again, this is ending for the period of 12/31. So this is the fourth quarter of last year. So beginning October 1st, going through December 31st. And then on page 4, on the top left-hand side, if you see up there, the performance numbers, the current period is again for the fourth quarter. So the beginning of the fourth quarter started off at $144,362,526. And then the cash flow is the withdrawals for the retirees of $2,708,622. And then we had a total return, excuse me, during that period of $541,785. So at the end of the 12/31, the pension was $142,195,688. So we had a return of about 0.38% in the fourth quarter. And the column to the right of that, I'll mention that, that's a year-to-date, so obviously the year of 2025 is what that is. We started off at $138 million, had withdrawals of a little bit less than $8 million, appreciation of about $11.5 million, and then again ended up at the $142 million. So last year's 12-month return was 8.47% during that period of time. Any questions with that at all?
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Kind of moving to the bottom right hand corner is just the allocation. This hasn't changed a lot since last quarter. Mike and I kind of keep an eye on this, and based on withdrawals and things like that is kind of how we've been managing this for the most part, but it's just showing cash equivalents of about 1%, excuse me, equity or the stock portion of about 67%, fixed income of 27, and the alternative investments, which is primarily the REIT, the Real Estate Investment Trust, of about 5% in there. And then over to the left, I'll just point that out real quick there, the top 10 pieces, if you will, of the pension. That first piece is, again, C.S. McKee. That's the fixed income piece of about $32 million. And then the fifth slot down there is the value equity, or the stock piece of it, of about $11 million, which, again, Graham's going to talk a little bit more about here in a few minutes. If I can ask you just to go to page 6 then. Page 6 of 11 is the other page we always like to point out because it has a little longer perspective to it. The second, or the right-hand side of the page at the top, you see the 1, 3, 5, and 10-year periods. And so if you just drop to the bottom, is kind of the overall performance of the pension fund. So the last 1 year period, we already talked about that, was 8.47%. The 3-year number, and these are annual averages is what they are, of 11.1% over the last 3 years. 5-year number, an average of 6.38. And then the far right number, which I know you guys watch a lot for your actuarial numbers, is the 7.62% over the last 10 years.
Which is only the 7.25 that we have assumption.
Yes,
Yeah. That's maybe a first for me to see that on the 10-year average.
Yeah, it's been climbing. We've had 3 really good years that has helped that a lot.
Sweet. Any questions on any of that at all?
The higher you are, that 8.47, does that reduce what we pay in the actuary figure?
It should.
Yeah,
Actuaries, but that helps.
Yeah, that calculation would be beneficial as far as your annual
Does,
payment.
do they do that at the end of last year, or will they do that this year for?
I believe it's calculated on year end. Jimmy, you probably know that
June.
better. Based on year
End
end.
of last year, and I would say in another month or two we'll know what the,
Yeah, we'll be sending this stuff in March, the numbers, and then we'll get them.
it's a snapshot on 12/31, so that's how we always
Okay.
usually talk to these guys about hoping for a good day on 12/31.
So it would benefit the budget next year.
It could, yeah.
And Mike has some updated numbers through the last couple of days here as well.
Yeah, the allocation hasn't really changed since year end. We are, just to be aware of it, we're not, I don't think we're making any recommendations today, but we are at the upper end of the equity range in the investment policy statement. So we're not out of range at this point, but we're right there. And the investment policy statement does give us a little bit of latitude that, we don't have to adjust that as soon as it goes over that, but we're aware of it, we're watching it, being aware of what's going on in the market. The balance through yesterday is $144,481,034, and that does give us a return, year-to-date return, again, unaudited. We're up 2.54%. And if we just compare that, we don't typically do this, but if we just compare that to the S&P 500 index, it's up 0.52 for yesterday. So we're seeing right now some outperformance, and you might ask, well, what's causing that? And what we've started to see, I think, since about the beginning to the middle of December, is a broadening out of the market. So we've been talking about technology and AI stocks and the Magnificent Seven to 10 stocks. It really has been a lot of the performance of the S&P 500 index over the last, 3-4 years anyway. Some money's coming out of that area and getting spread across the broader market. So, for example, things that are working right now that maybe last year didn't work as well, REITs are up over 10%. Your REIT portfolio that we have is up over 10%. And we have 2 small cap managers. One's up at 9% and the other one's up 12%. And not huge parts of your portfolio, but it is diversified. And then I think Graham's going to touch on it as well, but large cap value, we're seeing outperformance there as well. So this broadening out of the market, I think, has the potential to be really good for the pension plan in the long term.
Can you keep our gold in your office, or does Brett keep it in his?
Yes.
We split it. That's the safe way to do it.
And then the last comment I'll make is we just raised $3.6 million to keep liquid in cash for the next several months for monthly pension payouts. That'll get us into May, and then usually May, June, we usually talk about making your annual payment.
Yeah.
So just so you're aware that we have raised a little more cash since the market's done well. Any other questions? I think we'll turn it over to Greg.
I can start. Yeah, I can start off and touch a little bit about the fixed income. But again, Zach Vigneault, Director of Distribution and Client Services at CS McKee. I'm supposed to tell all of you, Mark Ensheimer says hello. He misses this meeting, and he just wanted to make sure that he let you know that he was thinking of all of you. I'm again joined by Graham here. Really excited for Graham to talk about equities, but real quick side note about Graham that we spent 4 hours in the car yesterday. He actually spends his weekends traveling around the country. He coaches the Junior Penguins elite travel team, hockey team in Pittsburgh. So that's just way more interesting than anything I do in my time. I know that we're in Flyers country, so any tough questions, make sure it's going to Graham. But yeah, before I kick it over to Graham, just wanted to touch on fixed income broadly. And typically that's a more boring conversation, if I'm being blunt, than it is the stock market. But that wasn't true in 2025. When we look at the numbers, even just how the year ended up, the strategy that you're in was over 7.4% for the year. Talk about 7.25 for your actuarial number. When fixed income is returning that versus the 2 to 3% that we were getting used to during the low interest rate era, it makes reaching those goals and those milestones much easier. You're not relying on 20% returns in the stock market. But when we think about what drove the fixed income market during 2025, there really are two main stories. If you think back to 2022, we saw the Federal Reserve start raising interest rates very aggressively. That led to a lot of volatility at the time, but the benefit of that is as you're issuing new bonds and buying new bonds with higher starting interest rates, that means as investors, we're getting paid more for money that we put out. For pension plans, all investors across the board, everybody is a big fan of that. And as bond managers, we love that. So that was the first thing, higher starting interest rates. And then the second main driver or tailwind for fixed income, we go back to July. Now at that point, there was this tug of war that was going on between the Trump administration and the Federal Reserve and Jerome Powell. Now even before President Trump was elected for this term, he was adamant we need to be more proactive about how we manage interest rates in the US. Federal Reserve, on the other hand, they're very reliant on data. They do not make any decisions based on feel or what people are thinking. They want to see that flow through the hard data. And at that time, that environment, we had inflation that was hovering around 3%, much higher than the 2% target. We had a job market that seemed strong. We had a roaring stock market and a growing economy. That is not an environment we would expect the Fed to start cutting interest rates. That all changed in July. Bureau of Labor Statistics came out, revised the jobs report downwards by 900,000 jobs. The Fed had no choice. They have to cut interest rates, which they did in August and then 2 more times throughout 2025. So those were the two main stories. We were benefactors of that. All fixed income investors were benefactors of that. But now as we look to 2026, that rhetoric's already changed. We don't see Federal Reserve cutting interest rates maybe as we expected at the middle of last year. Inflation continues to be a sticking point. They want to see further downward movements in inflation before they begin to cut. Also, job market actually improved in January. So both of those things are making it difficult to justify a rate cut. Now, that can change quickly. The job market, we've kind of been in this low fire, no hire type job market, and we're seeing some growth upwards, but that just happened in 1 month, so we'll see what happens next. From our perspective and how we're invested on the fixed income side, we think this is CS McKee weather. We always have a quality and a liquidity bias. So we're higher rated bonds that trade more frequently, so we can get in and out of positions much easier. And we think with all the volatility ahead, you mentioned, are we reaching the peak of the stock market? Valuations are really getting close to all-time highs. Fixed income is supposed to be that ballast of your portfolio, provide downside protection. And with what we do with the U.S. government debt sector, it really is differentiated and allows us to take risk off the table if we get uncomfortable. So that's my comments for fixed income. Any questions before getting it over to Graham?
Coach, what do you got?
We want to hear about the hockey team.
Yeah, do you want to hear about our power play? And I really do love coaching. I have a very understanding wife and 2 young kids at home who allows me to kind of coach on the weekend. And I always coached. I like being around the rink and the kids. And it's kind of like a second job, kind of a passion for me. Another thing I am excited about is the current sort of setup of the equity markets. For a long time, we were waiting for a broadening out or a less reliance on the Mag 7, especially as value managers. And what we've seen starting sort of mid-December is that rotation. We are up year to date about 6.5%. The Russell 1000 growth is down about 4.5%. So there's a spread about 10-11% from growth to value, and we see that as a good thing for stock pickers and value managers. The broadening out creates some opportunities. What we're looking for is stocks that exhibit 3 qualities: statistical cheapness, which is lower price to book, lower price to yield, higher dividend yield. Kind of that price per pound, what you're buying for earnings, what you're buying for a dividend yield. Secondly, some of those names that are statistically cheap deserve to be statistically cheap. So we're doing assumptions of earnings power, of growth rate, and assessment of risk to try to find a true understanding of the long-term value. So we're looking for stocks that not only are statistically cheap, but also are undervalued by our assumptions. And then the third leg is timeliness. And this is one that we put a lot of effort into. We do a lot of modeling. We are looking for a catalyst in a name that is going to take it from being statistically cheap and undervalued, but start to see a sentiment shift, a positive momentum in the name, a change in earnings expectations, and also on the flip side, if there's a decrease in timeliness, sort of a hey, this might be cheap and undervalued, but timeliness sentiment is changing. It's time to remove ourselves from that name. We think that has helped both our upside and downside capture over the last 5 years. We've had good numbers on both, where we've outperformed in up markets and in down markets, and we think that's a lot of our timeliness factors and our risk management tools. We work daily to make sure the names that are attributing the most to our active weight, our active risk, are the ones that we feel the most positive about. A couple names that you may not think that get caught up in some of the AI CapEx spend that we benefit from. A name Cummins was our best contributor to active return last year. They're a trucking company, trucking motor company, but they also got into data center power generation for those data centers, and so the CapEx spend that you're seeing some of the Mag 7s spend on the AI, the data center plays, a typical value name does have some exposure to that. So we are looking for some of those trends in names as reasons why there might be some outperformance in a typical value name. But last year was a good year for us. We outperformed both the S&P 500 and the Russell 1000 value, our benchmark. And we think the broadening out is a positive for value managers like us. We always have a higher dividend yield than our benchmark, lower price to book, lower price to earnings. So we're looking for quality names that are undervalued, that have sort of a catalyst that we can articulate as to why we'll get them closer to true value. Any question on our process? I know that was cool.
Yeah. Data centers are pretty controversial right now.
They are, and we're not in names that are taking, I guess, big CapEx bets like in Amazon. Amazon is actually coming to our benchmark. We've reduced our weight. In Google, what we're looking for is maybe utility companies that are providing power to this CapEx spend, or companies that have exposure to some of the build-outs as reasons why their earnings by consensus might be understated. So we're looking for possible value names that have a little bit of exposure to a growing CapEx spend.
I thought they were supposed to be funding themselves.
So companies like an Amazon or a Google will go to a utility company or go to companies and build out the data centers and sign contracts with them. And so that's just my point of bringing that up, was that is a way that we are looking at a non-consensus view of why there is a potential catalyst in a traditional value name like a utility, like an industrial name that might have some outperformance capabilities.
It's been really difficult to avoid any names that have nothing to do with artificial intelligence at this point. It is spread like wildfire. Even to the point where if you were a company that manufactured chairs or did something not like technology focused at all, and you would mention artificial intelligence on an earnings call, you would see the stock jump 5% the next day, right? It's gotten out of hand, and one reason we really like the value space is we feel the valuations have not been, significantly amplified by this excitement around artificial intelligence. And you're seeing that at the start of this year, it's kind of excitement with artificial intelligence, but it's impacting a lot of software companies that think it might be redundant. So there's so much movement in the market, we really have to see what it looks like once these capital expenditures come through. And more importantly for these companies that, like Amazon just announced $200 billion this year alone, Alphabet $175 billion. When you're spending that type of money, investors are going to want to see the impact on the bottom line. Now, will it be transformational? Likely, it will change the way we work and live. I don't know what that means from a dollar perspective. There's a lot of reports that say a lot of these investments have a return of investment of 0 so far. So we're seeing it between like 2% from a wage growth standpoint, allowing companies to lower their number of employees and who they pay by 2%. They're expecting hopefully 5 to 6% over the next year or two, but there's so many unknowns when it comes to that.
I guess I'd just like to follow up with, I can't help but notice rolling blackouts in our local communities, West Lebanon, North Cornwall, and I kind of see on Facebook where they're complaining, no notice, no warning, and they didn't have electricity for 2 hours. MedEd's going in and upgrading things, and my guess is it has to do with this warehousing and AI and all. Whether it's passing through Lebanon and going to Berks County or they're eyeing a place here, I don't know. But I guess people are really concerned about this, and I point that out to you so we be careful to choose wisely.
No, of course, and that's something we are looking at, stock-specific, bottom-up research. I use that as an example because it's top of mind. A lot of people, but it is not something where we are looking at AI and be like, we want to invest in all that, because I do think there are some dangers in that.
Yeah.
We are, which is part of our investment process when we're looking at normalized earnings power. If companies have exposure to that CapEx spend, we have to make sure we're capturing it in our models. But it's a fair point.
Have you had data centers pop up here, or like plans to bring data centers to Lebanon County?
Again, they're expanding. Right now, Berks and Schuylkill are both targeted. And I've noticed movements that either it's going to those facilities or they're also targeting us, but we don't know it. It's just unexplained because we're being impacted whether or not we're getting targeted because of utilities upgrading and things like that.
We can also look into that and get some information over to Mike.
Okay.
Our outlook on that specifically within the state of Pennsylvania.
It would be very helpful. I think a lot of people are concerned, and I think rightly so.
Yeah.
The amount of energy that artificial intelligence is taking up is,
I know.
It's almost laughable.
Yeah. Not.
They're asking you to not say thank you or please to your AI ChatGPT because it's costing them so much money and energy. Just from people being polite. Yeah.
On that note.
No, that's
It's great stuff too. Cheyney left the room, gave your tip.
Well, we can still say thank you. We can still say thank you. It doesn't cost us a penny.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward.
Would you like to leave a couple extra, these, anybody?
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck, thank you very much.
Good luck with the team.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
That was fine, thank you.
Great seeing you all.
Thank you. What's that? That's 4 items.
What was yours?
All right, first have a request for a letter of support from the Anvil-Cleona School District. They are applying for a public school facility improvement grant from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development. That is in the amount of $1,856,605 that they are requesting, and this would be funding to assist in replacing the 20-year-old deteriorating roof that covers the auditorium, gymnasium, main hallway, cafeteria, and classroom wing of the Anvil-Cleona Secondary School. Their application is due March 13th, and they contain some more detail in that letter to you, but requesting a letter of support from you to accompany the application.
Comments? None, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Approval.
Next, I have 5 requests for exemption from real estate tax for disabled veterans, meeting the requirements of the program. They are Erickson Barrientos, Marla Lawler, of Lancaster Street, Anvil, Marla Lawler of Arbor Drive, Myerstown, Jesse Wentling of Palmer Street, Lebanon, Ryan Gingrich of Bird Coleman Road, Lebanon, and Kathy Crane of Jonestown Road, Jonestown.
I'll make a motion to approve the 5 disabled veterans for real estate tax exemption.
Second the motion.
Motion is second. Questions, comments? None, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That approved.
Next, I have an application for hotel tax grant funds. This is number 8 of the year. This is from the Friends of the Coleman Memorial Park for the summer concert series, which they alluded to when they were here earlier. This is a summer concert series, attract visitors from across Lebanon County and the surrounding region. They noted some of the entertainment they're going to have, one is featuring a singer from Key West, Florida, which they expect to increase attendance beyond our community. They believe that their marketing, they want to increase their marketing and advertising and make a primary focus of that to allow their regional outreach even further and to help reach out-of-town audiences who are more likely to stay overnight and explore local attractions. They're requesting $5,000 of an $8,500 total project cost.
Also move, I think it's a good investment.
I'll second it. I'm concerned though because it's more than 50% of their budget.
It's
Motion is second.
Oh, we have
Comments? Or-
they're required to do 25% match.
I think it was 50%. Okay, thank you.
Additional questions or comments regarding the motion? Not, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Wait, 5 and 5, wait, 25, okay, you're right.
All in favor?
Aye. Took me a while to get there, but I got
Same
there.
time? You have that approval.
And lastly, I have appointments to the South Central Workforce Development Board, SCPA Works. Requesting your approval on these appointments. They are for Amy Leonardon, or Leonardon, I'm not sure actually. She's the HR Director at Bayer, and she is within the Lebanon Lancaster County region, and would like to serve on the Board of Directors which would run from May 1st, 2026 to April 30th of 2029, replacing current member who's terming off, Franklin Fossey. Also Jennifer Bayer, she is the Program Director for the Lancaster Lebanon Literacy Council, and would be replacing Sharon Hagenberger, who is terming off of the Administrative Finance Committee, or has termed off January 31st. This appointment would be from April 1st, 2026 to March 31st, 2029.
Make a motion to approve Amy Leonardon and Jennifer Baer to the South Central Workforce Investment Board.
second.
Motion is second. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. That's the one.
That's all I had. You have 11:30 MPO policy board.
Anything else for the good of the order?